Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. So I'm going to answer kind of a weird question, but this is an interesting question. How can I help my porn-addicted virgin friend? He says, one of my friends is a hopeless porn troll. I think he seriously needs help. He's currently a student at a top-tier college, and he tells me that he already has a bad reputation for several inappropriate sexual advances. Sometimes I talk to him, but we always end up talking about sex life, his sex life, which is non-existent, okay, and what he can do to improve it. My friend is also fucking weird. He admits to masturbating to Facebook profile pictures of past high school classmates while we're still talking. Okay, this is kind of weird. My friend says he doesn't want a girlfriend, just friends with benefits, but we have both agreed that he's too ugly for that to happen. My friend also sees no reason to stop masturbating. He claims that he has found the perfect equilibrium of not masturbating and masturbating. Okay. John, I want to know what I can do to improve my friend's life, and could you make a message directly to my friend so he can stop being a loser? Okay, so there's a lot of complexity here. All right, I'm going to try it. I'm raw. I'm honest with you guys. I'll tell you. There's a few different roads to go here. I think, first of all, it starts with perception, okay? There's some kind of weirdness going here. I don't know if this is your friend or you. It doesn't matter. I'll address you the same because it doesn't matter. And then here's the first thing. Let's start at this layer. There's nothing to be ashamed here. There's nothing to be ashamed here. I know this sounds weird. I know there's some weird behaviors and whatnot, but we're all capable of this shit. I've been there. I've done some weird ass shit, right? I was a chronic masturbator, addicted to porn. I've been there, okay? Now, I'm here to tell you that that doesn't have to be you. I'm not anymore. In fact, I think the last time that I looked at porn was probably 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago at this point, honestly. And I'm telling you, when I say honestly, like, there's no fucking reason why I would make up a lie here. I know that might sound astounding and crazy to you, but I'm telling you this for two reasons. One, so I can be completely honest with you that you know that, yes, I was in that state before, and I have been for a large portion of my life. And two, that it is possible to be out of that state, but it doesn't start with guilt and shame and thinking that things are wrong or that you're fucked up or messed up, right? It's your fault. You should take responsibility for your life. But at the same time, it's not so bad and wrong, right? It's just sort of the default, right? So you're kind of living right now the default behavior of a guy, right? You're looking at porn, you're jacking off, you're doing some stupid sexual things like jacking off to Facebook profile pictures while you're talking to your friend on the phone. That's pretty fucking weird, but it's also normal to some degree, right? I mean, we're normally weird, okay? This is the one thing that you guys need to understand, whether you're a guy or girl, whatever, you're watching these videos, is you're normally weird, I'm normally weird, right? Being weird is fucking normal, okay? There's a lot, you're gonna have things that are schisms in your personality and yourself and your identity that are going to need to be resolved and worked out. It's normal. You don't come into this world just perfectly well-adjusted human being, being able to fulfill all of your needs and desires and being able to live just in harmony with society and all of these things. The world is a complex, fucking messy place, right? And you gotta start somewhere. But here's the thing. You can accept yourself as you are and not feel guilty about, you shouldn't, live your life in guilt, but at the same time, you can aspire to be better, okay? But it starts with accepting where you are, okay? And then realizing that that's not where you stay, okay? When you first, if you're trying to get to your apartment on the 32nd floor, you don't just go to the bottom of the staircase and say, it's okay where I'm at, right? You have to actually say, well, it's okay where I'm at now, but I'm going to climb the stairs to get to where I'm going. Because you're not just going to get to where you're going. The 32nd floor apartment is not coming down to you. You're going to have to rise up to it. So I'm assuming that you want to get somewhere in your life. I'm assuming that you want to have actual real sexual relations with women, or to build relationships, or to do those kind of things, right? So it starts with changing your mindset and changing your identity. Right now, your picture, from what I'm gathering from this email, the picture of the world that you have is one of scarcity, and it's one of I'd say that like you're not good enough and this is what you're settling for, right? So when I see these kind of behaviors and I see what you're doing here, and the way that you're talking about it, and the way that you're trying to normalize something that is not a normal behavior. Again, I said weird is normal, so don't misconstrue the contradiction there. What I mean is that this behavior has to change. It's not the most beneficial behavior for you, okay? But when you're trying to rationalize these things and you're trying to say, this, and you're constantly obsessing about these things, it's because your view, right, of yourself and what you can get out of life is greatly warped, and you don't believe, right? You're coming from a scarcity viewpoint, and you're just trying to get what you can. And again, the fact that you've had some misappropriate, sexual advances or whatnot, that again, alarm bells go off to say that you're trying to get what you think you can get, right? Instead of what you actually could, right? What you actually deserve, right? And maybe you don't deserve that much at this point because you haven't worked on yourself that much, and that's fine, but you can achieve that, okay? But it starts with this mindset. And right now, I think your mindset is one where you're thinking that, like I said, you're not worthy. You don't deserve this. This is the least that you can get. I can just grope this girl, and I'm going to get a feel, and I'll just have to settle for that instead of thinking bigger. Okay, I want you to think bigger. I want you to think bigger than getting your rocks off, than looking at some porn. I want you to think bigger than trying to get some, quote, friends with benefits just so you can get your jollies off, right? I want you to think bigger than making inappropriate sexual advances just so that you can get like this rush of adrenaline or sexual high that you get from doing these type of things, right? This is a bad road to go down because what you're doing is you're selling yourself completely short, and the identity of the person who does those things is not the identity that you want to identify with. You're not going to be successful in life, and you're going to be obsessed about what you can't have, as opposed to living an abundant life where you're comfortable, where you're able to get what you want out of life. Now, I don't it doesn't matter if you're fucking ugly, if you think that, right? I mean, this is like, I'm going to say that as well, is like, you're probably not, okay? And there's probably a lot you can do to work on that, right? Check out my playlist on becoming a better man and attracting women, for sure. And there's a lot of things I talk about on that subject, but ultimately, we want to start with this identity, okay? I want you to form a new identity. I want you to have a vision of yourself, and I talk about this all the time. This idea of like, and here's what's the important concept here, is that identity is where everything else flows from, right? When I broke my addiction to pornography and masturbation, okay? And I broke it completely, right? And it happened pretty instantly. What had happened for me, right? And you can check out the video I did on this, my early video when this was first happening. What I did was I changed my identity, right? I connected with a different identity. I saw myself. I said, what does a real man do, right? How does a real man handle his sexual desire? How does a real man step forward, right, and lead? And what does that person look like, right? What kind of person, for me, do I want to become if I'm going to become the best version of myself? Do I want a crutch? Do I want to be dependent on something? Do I want to be enslaved by this thing, or do I want to go out and be able to get what I want out of life without needing this stupid fucking crutch, right? I had that identity. That identity, it shaped my feelings about myself and about the situation, which shaped my actions. Of this idea that a lot of people, what they try to do is they try to change their actions first, right? This is why I'm sort of against that whole kind of no-fap thing, is because it's so fucking action-based. It's like stop masturbating and stop porn or whatever, right? And no fap for, so much time, and then you'll get this benefit. And even though I'm for not doing that, right? And not on a moralistic, don't get me wrong here. I'm not talking about morals at all. I don't care. I'm not trying to judge you or condemn you or say this is right or wrong. I'm saying from a beneficial to you perspective, It's not beneficial to you as a man, as a human being. It's not beneficial to have a fucking crutch, okay? Now, with that tangent aside, what I'm talking about is when you try to break addictions, it's like this rubber band that you're pulling back when you're stopping behavior. You're trying to change action, and so many people, and it eventually snaps back, right? And so many people, what they try to do is they try to change their actions, okay? And from their actions, they want their emotions to change, and then they want their identity to change, and they become something else. That's how they try to transform themselves, and it's back asswards, okay? You can't do it that way. You cannot start with the actions. Everything that you're trying to do in life right now, that you can't overcome these addictions. You can't overcome these weaknesses. You can't stop this. You can't start this. You can't break the bad habits. You can't start the good habits. It's all because you're trying to use your fucking willpower for the wrong purpose. You're using your willpower to stop action or to start action, which doesn't fucking work. Instead, what you need to do is change identity. Okay? And changing identity is not just super simple, but once you grasp it and once you get it, then it will powerfully change your emotional state. It'll also change your actions. Okay, this is key. If you want to change the things that you do, you have to change who you are, who you're being at the time. And sometimes you can play a role, right? I mean, you can experiment with this. And if you think about playing a specific role, that will cause you to change your identity, which will cause you to change your actions instead of you trying to micromanage all of these actions. And a lot of the things that you'll be doing is non-verbal communication, right? And so you may be able to manage your verbal communication, your actions, but ultimately, if you're not going from an identity perspective, those other things, right, you're going to self-sabotage yourself in ways that you don't know, because a lot of what's ruling your behavior and what you do is your subconscious. Your subconscious mind controls a large amount of your behavior, and you're unaware of it. That's why it's so important to start with identity. So, in your case, what would I do here if I were you, okay? First of all, step one, accept what's going on and who you are, right? Right now, and where you are right now. It's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed or ashamed of it, right? But at the same time, don't be ambivalent to it. Don't say this is okay and this is where I'm going to stay. Say this is where I am right now. I'm an acorn, but I intend to be an oak tree, okay? But it's okay to be an acorn when you're an acorn, all right? So accept that. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to justify it. Don't try to say, just take full responsibility and say, I am this way because I've chosen to be this way, but I can choose to be something else, okay? So accept that. Next step, I want you to actually form a real identity that you want to become. Fuck this shit. Don't go for the easy target. I want you to reject this worldview that you're ugly, you're not good enough, that you can't get the real things, you can't actually really get a real relationship with a woman or that they can't be attracted to you until you're just going to get whatever kind of gropes and feels you can get out of fucking life. No. I want you to totally reject that, and I want you to think, what if I could become whatever I wanted? What if I could become the guy that I want to become to be able to get the kind of sexual gratification that I want in the highest form that I could get it, as opposed to the lowest form, okay? I want you to envision that. All right? And I want you to envision what you would look like if you were that guy, not someone else, okay? Someone else is fine. Maybe that's a good starting point. But I want you to envision what you yourself would look like. How would you walk? How would you talk? Okay? What kind of things would you do? What kind of thoughts would go in your head? How would you dress? Right? How would you eat? How would you live your life, and what state would you be in? I want you to close your eyes. I want you to actually visualize that, and I want you to see the cool fucking, Hank Moody version of yourself, right? You know what I mean? I want you to see that fucking cool suave, use some other characters and mix them together, James Bond, whatever it is that you need in order to identify and own that and see that version of yourself. That's where I want you to start, okay? Then third, I want you to do something. I want you to take in positive reinforcement that's going to change your beliefs, okay? If you don't do this, it's going to be hard. You can't just form a new identity and just say, I just want to be this person. You need a lot of input, okay, that is going to cause you to accept this new belief system and accept this new identity, okay, and actually act it out. Because if you don't believe it, you won't actually do it, okay? So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some work, but I want you to leave that old identity behind. I want you to form this new identity. So you need good inputs, okay? Go look on my channel, look at the books that I recommend, okay? Those are really good books that will transform you, especially Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. Watch these videos, watch other people's videos, listen to this positive kind of reinforcement of personal development, of an abundance mindset as opposed to the scarcity mindset. And then number 4, this is the last step, and you can do these kind of simultaneously, is I want you to actually start playing this role. I want you to develop that identity, right, that I said, and have a really strong idea of who this new identity is, and then I want you to start acting as if you're already that person. I want you to act that part out and start playing it out in day to day, right? Just pretend to be that person, take on that persona, and just start acting like that person would. Okay, and that's what's going to take you there. That's what's going to change your life and actually transform you. It's going to be a lot of work, but you're setting the bar too fucking low, my friend. You think that you can only achieve certain things out of life, and so you're settling. You're the reason why you're in such a shitty place and you've got this fucking fucked up behavior is because that's all you think you're worthy of, and that's all you think you can get. And when you have that mindset, your behaviors are perfectly rational with that mindset. The chronic masturbation and porn and doing kind of weird shit and doing inappropriate sexual advances on women, those are all things that make sense if you believe that's all that you can get. So, if that's all I can get, I might as well get what I can, right? That's that fucking mindset. If you have an abundance mindset, if you're like, fuck, I can be whatever I want. I can get whatever I want. I'm going to fucking bring my gifts to the world, which I know it's really hard for you to envision this, right? But, I was like you. I was. And I've fully transformed myself, from what I was, from this mindset, this similar mindset to a fully abundant. I believe I can get anything I want out of this life. I believe I've got value to give to this world, to humankind, to women, to whatever it is, right? I believe I've got that value to give. But if you can make that transformation, your actions, your behaviors will all change. But it's not going to be simple. It's going to take work, okay? And it's going to take belief, and you're going to have to change your beliefs by changing the inputs and then actually practicing this role. And you'll see as you start to realize that you're no different than anyone else, right? When I first had this realization, I stumbled into this when I was probably like 17, or I guess it was 16 or 17 when I first had this idea. I woke up one morning and I said, why not me? And I realized that biologically, I'm equivalent. I've got a fucking brain. I've got a body. I can make this body into what I want. Okay, I might not be able to control my face that much, but I could actually. I could make a lot of money and get plastic surgery. I could do all these things. There was no, the question was, why not me, right? I could talk. I could learn to not be shy. All of these things were possible, right? But I didn't believe them. I was stuck on this old identity. So once I changed that identity, and once I started actually walking in those steps and faking it till I made it, pretending to be what I wanted to be, I realized that I just would eventually become that. And you will too. It's hard to swallow right now. It's hard for you to believe that. So you got to kind of take some trust here. You got to take some faith and believe that if you do the things I'm telling you, your life will change. But like I said, it's going to take work, and you got to want it. You got to ask yourself, if you could have this life, how bad do you want it, right? What would you be willing to give up? What would you be willing to sacrifice? It's going to be a hard road for sure, but it'll also be the most important road that you take. Stop taking the fucking table scraps. You're better than that, okay? And maybe no one's ever believed in you before, but I believe in you, okay? And you can take that, as you will, but honestly, I'm rooting for you and I believe in you. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to all of you out there, because it's possible. But you have to believe it yourself, and you have to believe yourself worthy of it, and then you have to go for it. And if you do, you will succeed. And I'll be on your side, like I said. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button below. Click the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos. And if you can share this with a friend that could use it, go for it, man. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.